Yes. Thank
Sweet.
you. Okay, so we're gonna go to source, add a new file. Call it like bullet or projectile. There we go. Let's make a little class here. And so what would be good things to have for a projectile? We want to have X and Y, obviously, to know where it is. We want to have some sort of speed. So maybe have like a... Or maybe not actually. Maybe use the direction. Gotta continue drinking my coffee. I need this. Fuck it, let's do speed. So we'll do speed X. Or velocity, I guess. Velocity Y. And let's just keep it at that for now. So let's make similar to the player. We're gonna make a huge array of projectiles. So I'm just gonna define projectile max. Let's say we can have a max of 256 projectiles. So we just make a little array of those. Hold on, I'm just gonna close the door. Okay. So, and then of course, since we're having this static array, we want to make sure that we can activate and deactivate them. So we're gonna do bool. What do we call players? Alive. Okay, so let's call it live. Like that. Very easy, and then we'll just do void update and void draw. Okay, that's gonna be our projectile. Let's define it in a CPP. CPP. So we do a projectile. CPP. Oh, I forgot to put on my strap on. Okay. Standard stuff. Can include the header. And then let's just define all these things. We don't actually need a constructor. What are we? Lame. There we go. So in the update, we just want to move the projectile based on the velocity. So we're just going to do that. So we're just going to do x plus equals velocity x times eng delta. Y plus equals velocity y times eng delta time. And to get eng delta time, we have to include engine. Okay, and then we want to draw. So let's just draw a little square. So we'll just do eng. I don't remember what I call them functions. Eng rect? Yeah, eng fill rect. So we'll do x, y, and then width and height. So we'll make them 8 pixels big. And we'll do the color. Let's just do black. There we go. So we make make little black squares for all the bullets that one could shoot. Okay. So we have to make sure to call the drawn update. So I'm just gonna go into server main, add these to the list here. So we're gonna do the same for all projectiles.
Did you include projectile?
Nope. I'm gonna draw as well. There we go. So then we'll include it as well. There we go. Easy. And now we're gonna do the same for the clients. So we will just go into client.cpp. No, not client.cpp, client main. I'll just copy paste this. And same here.
Is there a reason why you don't have them in the same for loop?
Because how would we make that?
No, I mean like the update and draw for like the projectile. Where
Oh, because you never want to draw something before everything has updated. Because then
Okay.
something might be drawn out of order.
Got it.
Projectile.h. Cool. Very cool. Sweet. Okay, so everything seems to be in order. So let's play. Oh no. Oh, whoops. Yeah, okay, so I forgot to make them extern, right? So here's the problem. We're not making them extern, the array we just made. So we have to make sure to do that. This can't be a variable, it has to be an extern, and then in here we're gonna define it. Here we go. Now we got a lot of warnings. Good thing we don't care. All right. And of course, nothing will change because we haven't actually made anything to shoot the projectiles. So this is gonna not make the game all that much different. So of course we gotta make some way to, when I hit space or something, we want to fire a projectile.
Wait, before we do that, could you show me please what we did in the client main just now?
Oh, whoops. In client main, I added this. So I added projectile draw and projectile update here.
Yes.
And then I included projectiles at the top.
Right, and then we did nothing else. We did this, and it made the thing extern.
Yeah, extern here, and then in the CPP file define. Okay, so let's make it so we can shoot these guys. So I'm gonna make a spawn function. Spawn. And let's make it a you give it a direction. So let's say dir x and dir y. Oh yeah, and x yeah. And I float spawn x and float spawn y. Whoops. Okay, try that again. Oh, my goodness. Oh my goodness. Fat fingering everything. There we go. So we're gonna set x to spawn x. We're gonna set y to spawn y. We're gonna set okay, so we're gonna set alive to true. And then for direction and direction y, we want to set these velocities here. So I'm just going to define some sort of speed.
Should we also have a lifetime timer or something?
We can add that later.
Okay.
Okay, so speed will be how fast it goes. So let's say 400. I think that's a good value. So we're going to set velocity x to be dir x times projectile speed. And velocity y is equal to dir y times projectile speed.
What was the speed at again?
I used to define here.
Alright. Thank you.
No problem. So now we can spawn the projectile. Let's also make a destroy function so we can get rid of them. Let's do destroy. There we go. So now we have some spawning and destroying thingies. So let's call those from the player then. So I'm just gonna go into player. Point CPP.
Wait, did Pixel.raw get cleared for you?
Oh, whoops. Oh, I must have deleted.
Right.
Exit color 0, 0, 0. Let's get rid of these errors. Okay. Great. So what yeah, okay, so here we have the movement, right? So here let's do a little comment here. Movement. And then do shooting. So if aim key pressed, key space, then we're gonna shoot a projectile. So let's loop through all of the projectiles until we find a good one. So do auto projectile in projectiles. And if projectile alive. We continue. Oh yeah, we have to include projectiles. So we'll loop through until we find one that's not alive. So that's a free slot that we can use for ourselves. Then I'll do projectile, spawn. And we'll do X, Y, so we'll spawn it at the player's location. And then dir X and dir Y will just be input X and input Y. And then we'll break. Because we found our projectile, so we're ready to get out.
Yeah, man, I downloaded the project, but I don't have the input X or frame input X, so I think the thing you upload is a bit behind.
Not really? Oh no.
You can use download my GitHub otherwise. I have the latest one from yesterday or
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah, maybe we can fix it under lunch, otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll take a break soon, and then we'll fix that. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Oh no, my server isn't down. I'm so lonely. Okay. Oh, unresolved external symbol class projectiles. What? That's not good. Oh, that got removed as well. I accidentally went back a lot in my code for some reason. Okay, there we go. So now if we launch a client and try to shoot, hey, there we go, I can shoot bullets. How neat. Of course there's
What happens if you stay still?
yeah, so if I stay still, it just stands there. So that's not good.
You can draw a picture.
What?
You can draw a picture. Just move a bit,
yeah.
shoot once.
Yeah,
It's like a mine.
I drew a P. Okay, so there's a couple of problems with this. First of all, is of course if I'm moving diagonally, it goes much faster. Can anyone tell me why?
Because the vector is magnitude of 1.4 instead of 1.
Yeah, we're not normalizing the thing, so we're also moving faster in diagonals. Like,
Yes, we're
because
never.
we're moving one, yeah, because we're moving one into the east side and one up,
Yeah.
yeah, and shit like that.
Exactly. So we're not normalizing our input vectors at all. So when we're moving sideways, it's getting x velocity and y velocity at the same time. So we'll go, root 2, root 2 factor faster. The other problem, of course, is that if I keep shooting, sorry, were someone gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that. Don't worry, we're just doing a Quake style shooter.
Yeah, exactly. Strafing. We'll do bunny hopping as well. The other problem, of course, is that if I keep shooting for long enough. Actually, let's make it a little bit faster. Hold on.
Again, error that complains on the array we put in CPP says redefinition.
Did you put extern here?
Oh, right.
So now if I shoot, yeah, eventually I run out of bullets. Because I've shot, so I set the projectile max to 12. So if I shoot 12 bullets, then eventually I'm gonna run out of bullets. Because they're all alive, and they're all flying off into infinity. And there's nothing I can do about it. So we have the different problem where we will very quickly run out of bullets, especially if everyone starts shooting all the time. So let's do what Justus suggested. Let's make a little timer, so that when a timer runs out, the projectile is destroyed, so that we can free up space for new projectiles to be fired. So I'm gonna do that by just doing a float and do spawn time. So that's gonna be excuse me, that's gonna be the time when the projectile was spawned. I'll actually put that at the top. Oh fuck. Okay. So when we spawn, I'm gonna set spawn time. Eng time eng elapsed. Eng elapsed time. There we go. Whoops. So eng elapsed time will just give you the current time point since you started the game in seconds. Okay, so now that we have that, in update, we can compare our spawn time to the current time and see, okay, has there been 5 seconds between these two times? So in update, I can simply check if eng elapsed time minus spawn time is bigger than some duration. So let's say, let's make a define projectile lifetime, and we'll do I don't know, 5 seconds should be enough. So if eng elapsed time and spawn time is more than projectile lifetime, then destroy. So if we if we've been alive for more than 5 seconds in this case, then destroy the bullet. Let's actually make it lot lower, because then, or let's use, I'm gonna decrease speed a lot for now, just to see, because it's gonna run off screen, so it's gonna be hard to see, you know, if it actually destroys after 5 seconds or not. So let's, you know, put that down, just to see it destroy itself. So let's try.
What did you set it to?
I set speed to 0.2, I think.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now if I shoot, then they're gonna travel real slow. Then after 5 seconds, hopefully, there you go, they go away. And so they will free up slots that we can reuse with new bullets. How fantastic.
Didn't the projectiles look a bit weird now how they were destroyed? When you shot several at once, the ones you shot last were destroyed first.
Well, that's just an illusion, because when I'm running and firing, I'm actually running faster than the bullets.
Ah, okay.
So you see that this one is actually the first one I shot.
Okay.
Okay, I really need to go use the men's room, so let's take a maybe 10-minute break or something. So, can someone help out with fixing up the newest version of the project? Maybe the one we have now, so that you get like caught up to speed with this lesson as well.
Yeah, sure. I can just push what I have.
Okay, cool. And I'll be back in a few. So, be right back. Har du problem? Alltså ja.
Första gången i mitt liv. Fan, på rätt squiggligt. Fucking korrekt. Du har stenekor. Ja, det är fett.
Damn, you live a good life, dude.
Så den tar bara... Det är så makligt som kan bara ha den här grejen. Det finns alltså inte en enda symbol som... Jag gissar att det enda den bryr sig om är jorden. Ja, det tar en tur ner nästa dag. Alltså så bra skog. När vi märker att raden är så antagligen. Så det är en symbolen. I guess. Men vad händer om man har space? Ska man ha space? Man kan designa inte bara ta så man kan åka så. Då skulle man kunna skriva ut en
Nej, jag undrar bara ifall det var det.
Ska jag nu se?
Jag tror nej.
Ska jag
släpp.
Mer kaffe. Kommer du upp där? Kommer du?
Är du trött vid dig? Jag är väldigt trött. Why though? Jag vet
inte druckit hur mycket kaffe.
Kaffe?
Har du med mat?
det där, Jenny.
Det var jag.
Du sitter äpplet ser ut.
Vem var inte äpplet?
Ja, det är Johan.
Vi kunde köpa ett sugrör till honom som
Då är det fan uppergrass snart. Ja. Ska vi skölja av den?
Det var unexpected kind of fire det där.
Du har helt unexpected. Vänta. Vad har du det?
Ja, jag vet inte vad jag har gjort. Jag bara börjar få Swedish
Okej, jag tänkte på att inte att jag missade. Det är så jag också, det bara låser sig. Man bara, okej. Har du skrivit in den där linen min-grejen?
Det här är din kod.
Okej, då är det inte. Vänta, så först hämtade du precis?
Nej, det här är sen i morse.
Jag pushade precis det jag hade nästa.
Jag bara laddade ner den.
Maybe, I don't know.
Fråga Emil annars. Han börjar ha koll.
Om man inte har koll så... Ja, det är sånt där. Fast det är tjejer, men det är fan.
Vad är det där koppläget? Här ser jag också simplexer. Void shooting.
So tall.
Nej, det verkligen inte.
Hi. I'm just updating. Just updating. Oh, you can see what I'm doing. Oh, is he here today teaching? Okay, never mind then. I won't touch his computer. I didn't realize. I thought he just left it like that. So, okay, sorry. Just tell him Wendy was going to start something, but she didn't touch anything.
Yeah, she changed her code and she broke it. Jag får testa min nyaste kod då, så den är bättre. I hope it will, otherwise it's a bit embarrassing.
Ja,
fresh, crispy.
har du sett?
Vänta, hur spelar du liksom... Nej men lägga såhär shit liksom, hur shiftar du?
Så, man kan inte ta av. Det är lite curve. Men jag brukar alltid ha typ sprint på allt.
I suppose that works. No, men it's a bit cursed.
Yeah, det är lite a bit cursed.
Yeah.
Speciellt om du spelar och man inte har keybind.
Jag tror, alltså min polare, han har typ crouch på G. Det är fan så cursed. För han långt in.
Enda sättet man kan nå G. Når man inte shift om man är högerhänt.
Nej men alltså
han
började spela när han var liksom liten och då hade han inte shift. Nu när han shift.
Men liksom det är
Jag vet inte, han hade små händer när han var liten men liksom.
Men vadå, om man trycker ner G.
Har du inte sett hans keeper?
Han har en massa...
Supercurse. Yes, I bet. First or something. Jag har aldrig sett first. That's a bad one. Nej, det är fan han skrattar så att han har ont i magen. Åh jävlar. Fan episkt. Han har rocken också. Det är ju... Det var ju...
I just need a quick smoke. Just give me a second.
Get back in here, it's been 1 second.
Exakt. Lasse, är det?
Yes, det var ingen semikolon efter extern.
Ja, vänta. Det där är... Okej.
Det var bra error-rapportering.
Det är på grund av honom som du försöker lägga.
Vänta, vadå?
Eller? Vad...
Nej, det var inte din kod. Det var min kod.
Okej.
Så det är efter extern projectile.
Yes.
Skriv till Gud, du har inte fattat upp alls.
Hur har du fel? Kommer du med? Ja, vi ska göra efter det.
Har de börjat nu eller? Alltså de har väl kommit upp på det? Nej, de hade ju inte någonting annat om det skulle falla igen.
Ja, om de fortfarande ser det.
Hon hade väl den där Heder...
Men jag tror det. De tänkte inte att det plötsligt så...
I have an idea att göra en... So I want to see how it is. I can't find a good version of jag vill liksom veta liksom varför det använder det.
Hej, har ni lektion?
Ja.
Ja, men det är paus.
Nej.
Ni håller på nu?
Ja.
Ja, okej.
Nej, Leon! Hallå?
Det är giftigt nästan.
Vänta, vad var det där?
Jenny? There you go.
Okej, tack.
You're welcome. Oh my god. Jag vet inte vad hon gör. Eller vad hennes... Eller feels like. Jag vet inte vad hennes jobb är. Nej, jag hoppas att hon... Jag tror inte hon ska stå upp. Men vad ska jag
står inte där. Okej, fair.
Ja, det är ju Arboga. Det är den här... Jag vet inte vad... Följde du när Microsoft?
Ja, jag gjorde det.
Det var priset.
Det var priset. Ah, okej.
Så när vi hade last Microsoft. Jag visste att man tänkte på det. Yeah, I'm so disappointed. They had so much potential.
Vänta, man signerar den här Arboga eller?
Ja,
Nej, det var inte bara pussel i sig på Minecraft. Det var liksom, det var typ såhär binära torches och torches som var bara... Ja. Knapparna med kopplat något. Det var bra.
Vad blir du rekryterad till? Senior? Banken har blivit senior.
Det var bara skakar igen.
Alltså det här i spelindustrin så finns det seniors och sånt där. Men det är bullshit. Man kan inte rekrytera 3 år så blir man senior. Det är retarded. Men han kan tydligen börja som senior. Det är ännu mer retarded. Senior borde man inte bli förrän man har jobbat i minst 7 år.
Jag tror inte folk jobbar 7 år i spelindustrin. De säger upp sig.
It was me that touched your table. I didn't realize that you were here today. I didn't do anything. I was going to do some updates, but then when I realized you were here, I was like, okay, never mind.
Touch my table?
Yeah, well, okay. I was getting ready to do some updates, and I realized that I like moved it down. It was up higher, and I moved it down for me. And then I realized, I'm like, oh shit, he's here. So I didn't.
I didn't even realize.
I didn't touch anything.
It's
Just
fine. I don't mind.
Ja, om 10 år.
Ja.
Men jag minns att gratis arbetskraft i 6 månader.
För att göra vad jag ska använda det för mina bitcoin. Do math homework for my... Okay. Alright, hello, I'm back. I apologize for the low energy, by the way. I haven't slept properly in 2 weeks. I literally got one single brain cell in my brain still going like woo! But I'm doing my best here. Okay, so
before we continue, real quick. Not sure why. Oh, never mind. All right, so apparently Visual Studio did one of these things where at first it thinks this thing is an error, then after a while it realizes, no, it was an error. Never mind.
Never trust Visual Studio with error checking.
Yeah.
The output is the only reliable source.
Yeah, problem is since it thinks it was an error, I couldn't do anything still.
Oh, really? That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we doing here? Why do we even show up? Okay, so I'm gonna do 200 again. No, 600. No, 400. Okay, so the other, of course, big issue is that it's not networked, right? It's not synchronized between us and the server. If I shoot, the server doesn't know I'm shooting. The other clients don't know we're shooting, so it's only local, right? And that's a big problem. Because it's supposed to be a network game and I want to shoot my friends. So that's something we're gonna need to deal with.
Also, will we normalize the vector or not? We have to make a vector class, maybe.
Do I have to?
Manually.
Do I have to normalize?
No, you don't have to. You're the teacher.
Okay. Yes, I decide that it's okay.
Can I see the projectile H real quick?
Yeah. Yeah. Whoops. Okay. So, okay, so now we're stepping into another huge problem in networking, which is spawning authority. Because, I mean, okay, we're doing something quite simple, like we're just like setting a bool in an array. But, I mean, if we're thinking about it, what we're actually doing is that we're spawning like a new entity or a new actor or something. It's just a lot more simpler than when you do it in stuff like Unreal. And this is notoriously hard. Because you never want the client to have any authority over that, because the client does not have all the information. In fact, no one in this situation has all the information, right? The server doesn't know if someone has shot on the other side. The client doesn't know if the server has decided I'm dead. So, you know, or the game has ended, or anything else like that. And also, you don't want to trust that with the client. You don't want to trust the client with spawning projectiles, because I know you guys. You guys are troublemakers, so you're gonna be able to spawn 100 projectiles in one tick and destroy my server. So you never want to trust the clients with that kind of stuff. And you know, the same goes for stuff like It Takes Two, where there's only 2 players and we don't have a server. We don't have kind of the authority model that we're working with here. But even then, we have to be quite careful when we're spawning stuff. Because we never know what's happening on the other side. So just as an example of how this can bite us in the ass, if we do the simple route. Let's say client A shoots a bullet. Pew. Bullet shot at index 10. Like, it's like, okay, I found a free slot at index 10. That was a projectile. So I'm gonna spawn a projectile at index 10. And at the same time, B does exactly the same thing. He says, oh, I'm gonna shoot the projectile at index 10. Both of these are sent to the server, like, hey, I shot a projectile at index 10. the server is like, what the hell do I do now? Two clients have decided to shoot a projectile at the same time, both at index 10. What does it do? So you might say, okay, maybe something like, maybe do something like, okay, so the server has its own list of projectiles, and it just adds them to the list like normal. So it's like maybe the server says like, okay, I'm spawning at index 5 and 6. But then there has to be some sort of logic to link that, okay, my index 5 is referring to client A's 10. And you know, my index 6 is referring to the client in the client's index 10. So already we're kind of running into a very complicated issue now, where we need to do like ID aliasing. You know, we have to do like, okay, I got a message about index 5, but I have to like translate that means it's my index 10. And this is something I call entity linking. All right, so it's linking entities from A to the server and B to the server, saying essentially, here I spawn an actor. How do I link that up with the actor spawn on the server, so we know we're referring to the same thing? And you know, you might use, like in Unreal, you might use something like F names or something, or whatever. That's what we did in It Takes Two. But still we have the problem, even if we all do this aliasing stuff to make it work perfectly, we still have the issue of like, A shoots a projectile, sends it to the server, but the server has just decided, no, actually no, you're dead. Someone shot you and you're dead. You're not supposed to be able to shoot a projectile right now. Then we have a problem. A has just shot a projectile, but the server has already decided before the message comes in that you're dead. Then what happens? Then we have to do some sort of rollbacking or something to say like, no, actually you didn't shoot a projectile, I'm destroying it for you because you shouldn't have shot one in the first place. And you know, we'll run into a bunch of problems just doing that, because there is a conflict of authority here. So usually what's done in this kind of model is that instead of the client having authority, he will ask politely, and he'll say like, hey, I want to shoot a projectile, can I please shoot a projectile? The server will take the request and, you know, take everything into consideration, being like, hey, are you dead? You know, what projectiles are free? What's going on in the game? And then he will say, it will say, yes, you can shoot a projectile, that's fine. And you should shoot it at index 10. And then the projectile on the client will be spawned at index 10.
But Emil?
Yeah.
So like the server has to do a server broadcast to everyone, right? With the bullet anyways. So couldn't we do some sort of way like it requests, and then if it notices a server broadcast to everyone that the bullet has spawned, could that work?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we will do, yeah. That is like whenever a request comes in, we broadcast that to be like, okay, someone just wanted to shoot a projectile, I said yes, everyone spawn a projectile at index 10. So that's correct. So what will happen here is that the server will always have authority over when a projectile can be spawned and where it will be spawned. And that means that clients will just have to deal with that. They can't spawn their own projectiles, and that makes sure that there is never going to be a conflict of where it's spawned. Because since the server is the one always spawning, it will make sure that it's always spawning in a slot that's not preoccupied with something else. So all the clients will also have their slots not preoccupied by something else. So we'll solve these two problems at once. Okay. So let's do this. So I am gonna make a new message. So I'll go into message type, and I'll call it player fire. Call it that. That will be the question. Maybe we can call it player request fire actually. Oops. So I build a question from the client to the server to say like, hey, I wanna spawn a projectile. Alright. And then we're gonna add a new message also called projectile spawn. So that will be the answer. So the client sends player request fire, and the server will send projectile spawn once it has a knowledge that the projectile should exist. Okay. So let's implement this. So in the player .cpp we'll do a, where's the future? Oh, here it is. So instead of spawning the projectile here when we press space, instead we're gonna make a new net message. Message write, and we're gonna do the message type player request fire. And that's gonna be it actually. That's all we need to send. We don't need to send anything else, because the server will already have enough information to do the rest. So we'll just send that. Client send message. The server already has where we're moving. The server already has where we are. So the server will get to decide everything else. Okay.
And I'm guessing also free the message.
Ah, very good. Thank you. No, because this will not be broadcasted, this player request fire. We will make a whole new message. So, and the server will already know which user sent this message. So we don't need to send the ID. Okay. So let's go into the server main then, and go into their handle message function. And let's plop this one in here. So we'll do case message type player request fire. Okay, so here we have a message coming in that a player wants to fire. So we're gonna spawn it. So I'll do an fetch the index here. So I'll do projectile index. And we'll search through all projectiles to find which index we should be shooting from, or we should be spawning.
Oh, for the love of.
So we'll check if projectiles I alive, then continue, otherwise set projectile index to I, and then break. You're searching for a free slot. Okay. And I'll say like if projectile index is -1, then we'll do some error. We'll do like eng error ran out of projectiles. Break.
Do we want to? Yes, both scenario is good, but yeah, I missed that would crash the game, right?
I will use show one window and then continue.
Okay, yeah.
So it will freeze the server, which is kind of bad, but it's fine. It's good
Yeah.
to know when we run on the projectiles.
Fair enough.
Okay. And then we'll spawn that projectile. So we'll do projectiles. I'll actually please get the no, fuck it. Oh yeah, we want to fetch the player. So we want to fetch the player. Player is equal to players user ID. And then we want to do projectiles. Projectile index. Spawn. So we're gonna spawn it at the player's X, at the player's Y, and its direction is gonna be player input X and player input Y. Oops.
Also need to turn the array location to pointer, right?
Yes. Alright, then we and then we want to send a response. So the response will be a message type projectile spawn. So this is the actual spawning of projectiles we're gonna send over. So here I will write the index. Then we'll write the X location. So we're just gonna essentially send the spawn data that we sent in here, in the spawn function. Just to make sure that we're spawning the projectile at exactly the same position as the server. Then we'll write the player input X and the input Y. And here we could actually be a little bit sassy. Let's do chars here instead, because they're only gonna be 1 and minus 1, so gives them us 1 byte. And then we're gonna broadcast this message. And free message. Okay. So now we have a question to ask to request a fire, and then the server will respond by saying yes, you can fire, you're gonna fire at this index at this location and in this direction. So very juicy. So then we have to handle this message. So we're gonna go into client main and handle the projectile spawn message. Whoops. So we're gonna go down and handle the projectile spawn. So we're gonna read a few things. We're gonna read the ID of the projectile. We're gonna read the X. We're gonna read the Y. We're gonna read the dir X. Remember, those are characters. So read characters. And we're gonna read the Y. So now we've read all the input we need to actually spawn the projectile on the client. So let's do that. So we're gonna do projectiles, ID, spawn, X, Y, dir X, dir Y. Okay. So let's try it then. I am very scared. Oh, whoops! We ran out of projectiles immediately because I forgot to set the it above 8. So let's just go back and fix that. Gonna go to projectile.
I think my errors have turned sentient.
Okay, that's never a good sign.
Yeah, cause you recall the error I was about to show you.
I mean, you never told me what it was, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it was basically complaining on the the cons for let's see what for projectile lifetime. For some reason it says I'm missing a parenthesis, which I'm not. So, and as I was just about to show you while screen sharing, it suddenly turned okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and then right after we finished the screen share, I was checking again, and the error returned. It's as if it knows I'm trying to get help to fix it, so it simply hid itself temporarily.
Just 1 second. I actually forgot my phone on the toilet, so that means give me 1 second.
Do you have a semicolon after you define the projectile lifetime?
No.
Wow. RIP.
See, basically it's in the if statements where I'm checking if angle elapsed time minus spawn time is bigger than project lifetime. It thinks I'm missing a parenthesis even though I'm not.
Did you forget to have the eng time as a function?
The eng elapsed time?
Yeah.
At first, I added the parenthesis on that, but it still complains.
Okay, could you show me the picture?
Right.
Also, why is there a big mirror in the toilet in the kitchen? Like, I feel like the last thing I want to see is myself taking a shit. Like, that's why it's not not the time to be like, yeah, I look fucking great today.
I've wondered that every time it's so weird.
Okay. Yeah, so in the define, if you look at it, you've added a semicolon after the 5, and that will be included in the when you use the macro. So then you will have like a semicolon in parentheses, so that's why.
It's always the small things I manage to miss when I'm trying to fix on my own.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, whoops! I accidentally stopped screen sharing. Okay, so let's see what happens. I'm gonna launch a server again with a bigger max projectiles. Let's see. What? Is someone sending it too much? Okay, so let's print every time we shoot a projectile. Make sure I'm not crazy here.
Did someone do key down maybe? That
Yeah,
it
I'm
spams?
wondering. That would be something you guys would do, right?
Probably.
In print fire. Okay. Okay, it seems like people are playing nice now. But as we can see, yeah, the bullet seems to work good now. So that's good. I'm gonna try and join.
I'm just glad it wasn't me without
whoops.
knowing it.
Okay, so it seems to work fine. So it seems kind of like it's working fine, right? Like I'm not really noticing that we're doing this sort of loop back thing. Fuck. Okay, so I don't really notice that it seems to be any problem, right? But let's of course try it with Clumsy and see what happens. Now all of a sudden it feels horrible. Let's actually do.
It's pretty good. Good for me. Did we accidentally make it good?
When you use Clumsy, is it supposed to also show the effect on our client?
Well, it should be for all connections, even for you guys.
Oh, for me, I can start see that it starts looking like
oh wait,
I'm not
it's
teleporting.
right. Actually, this is. Let's just do outbound. Maybe now it should be worse.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So when I'm shooting, it actually takes a while for me to actually shoot the gun, right? And it feels really bad. So this is the problem, right, with doing server authority spawning, especially with stuff like shooting, is that it feels really bad. It doesn't take much lag for it to feel horrible. It only needs a couple of milliseconds for it to actually feel like trash. Because like when we're playing games, the whole idea of like, you know, juicy gameplay and, you know, responsive controls, like it's a thing. People want that because it feels good. That's what they want in their games. And of course what we have now is like the opposite of responsive. It's like every time we want to shoot, it takes like half a second for it to actually appear on screen, which feels horrible. So this is kind of the problem. And it's the reason why, you know, when you're playing Counter-Strike or you're playing Overwatch or something, you want to have a server with as little lag as possible, right? We're expecting lag under like 50 milliseconds, because even at 50 milliseconds it starts feeling really bad. It doesn't take much. Of course, we can do steps to prevent this. Like in Counter-Strike or in first-person shooters, what you'll do is that when you shoot, you still play like a big bang. You still like show it like you are shooting a gun. You might even do, if you can, maybe draw something to make it look like you're shooting, but you're not actually shooting. But it's just to sort of hide the fact that the actual bullet comes out a little bit after you shoot the gun. That would be the easy way to fake it. But then of course you can do the hard way of faking it, which actually would be spawn the bullet on your side and kind of do that whole linking Shabadook that we talked about just a second ago. Like actually do that complicated stuff that might work, might not work, to make it so you actually spawn the bullet when you shoot. But then you get into problems where like how do you do protect from stuff like where the bullet's supposed to go? Like do the client calculate that? And you run into a bunch of problems doing that. So usually it's enough to just play Big Bang, play a muzzle flash, and then that's enough to hide the fact that it sucks. But we're not gonna worry about that too much because we will be playing like we're doing local networking essentially, so we don't have to worry too much about lag. We can kind of just keep it as it is. So yeah, we're not gonna worry too much about it. But I really want to highlight what we've done now. I want to highlight the fact that we have done a very common design principle here. We have done the the question and response dance to do something. And if we're working with Unreal, for example, which I'm planning to do at the end of this course to show the Unreal networking, you'll see that that is the major way to do essentially anything in Unreal, because they are very hard on the server authority thing, where clients have very little authority to do anything at all. So you have to ask the server all the time to be like, hey, can you do this? Can you do X? Can you do Y? Because the client always has to ask, and this is a very common thing to do. So you guys are having fun. So let's real quick make some let's make some collision detection so we can actually kill each other. I think we can probably I think we can probably
and
do
a kill
that.
feed.
Yeah, and a kill feed and a player of the game. Yeah, I think we can kind of do that. We can kind of rock that one out a bit quickly. So let's do that then. Actually, let's take lunch because I'm fucking tired. We can't do it in 15 minutes. So let's take lunch for 50 minutes. No, for an hour, and then we'll get back 12:45. So I'll see you guys back 12:45. Have a good lunch. Okay. See ya.